You are watching the Guy Dawson Show at the World Center of Broadcast Media, and I'm with a group of human and animal activists, and we've got a couple of slides to show, don't we?
We do. Peace Begins on Your Plate, the dish on why plant-based eating is on the rise. We have a real quick little slideshow to show you some of these grain and meat alternatives for transitioning over. And what we find is that these are photos from the Gentle Chef, Sky Michael, and then there'll be a few of virgin cheese that you can find downtown at the market on Fremont actually sells it right there. 7 days a week and online for vegan essentials. But here's some of our partners and our community partners helping make Peace Begins on Your Plate available to the community for free bookings starting this summer. We're actually going to have our debut at the Grow Your Own Festival Saturday, October 1st. So here's a vegan cheese plate. This is 5 of my cheeses are on the menu at Veggie Nation downtown.
Go for it.
Smoked Gouda right there for Mr. Dawson. Everybody says it's harder to give up cheese than meat.
Isn't that fabulous?
Ask anybody. It's harder to give up cheese than meat, and there's a reason for that. It's called casein, and it's the protein compound. And it's actually 10 times more concentrated in cheese than it is in milk. And it is caseomorphine. Caseomorphin is the technical term, and it's designed to be addicting. It's the mother cow feeds her baby. The baby keeps coming back. A newborn calf is 500 to 800 pounds within a year. And Americans are kind of following suit with eating cheese for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So there are alternatives, and it's not just my cheese. You've seen the milk aisle now. There's almond milk. The sales of almond milk in the last 5 years is up 250%, almost $900 million. And at the same time, the dairy industry has dropped about $1 billion. So these alternatives exist. They're getting better and better. This is cashew milk. It's organic cashew milk that's cultured.
Wow, that was really smoky.
Yeah.
You know, like the good smoked cheese, and the consistency is just like cheese.
It is.
So there's alternatives for you, and they're out there.
And we have other things here. Will you explain some of the other clean products that you have?
Well, these are some of the plant-based proteins that you can put into your everyday approach, and they keep you full, they keep you sated, they provide clean protein that doesn't come from an animal. And you know, we all tend to think that protein comes from animals, right?
We've been programmed.
We've been programmed and we just accept it. But if you consider some of the most powerful animals on the planet, the rhinoceros and the hippopotamus and you know, the elephant and the giraffe, what do they eat? They eat plants.
And even
They're
the
herbivores.
cows themselves that we eat.
Cows themselves.
Yeah,
We eat them because of their protein, we're told, but look at what they eat. They eat
grass.
Yes.
That's right.
So we don't connect, we don't make this connection, which is very sad. That's why we don't realize that we can do without eating animals.
Absolutely.
So for a person who's been eating meat for, say, 45 years of their life, like you had talked about in your segment,
Yes.
or even longer, the adjustment from what I've seen with a lot of people is they understand that it's probably not a good thing that I'm eating meat, but that transition and the way that society is so meat oriented, how do you adjust to that?
It took me 2 years. I was 80-20 for 2 years. I came from a different standpoint than Sari did. I came from a purely selfish standpoint. I wanted to be healthier. You can refer to the China study. People who do not rely on animal proteins don't have the Western diseases, as Sari mentioned. They don't have heart disease and high cholesterol and diabetes. They don't. And T. Colin Campbell found, and Dr. Gerson found, that even people who adopt a plant-based diet can turn those chronic diseases around. And I found, after going completely 100%, the more cleaner that you eat, the more you crave it. And our food system's been hijacked. Our immune systems are failing because of the pesticides when food isn't organic any longer. So the Peace Begins on Your Plate has so many references to choosing a healthier and more compassionate lifestyle.
And we're also very blessed to be living where we're living because there are so many options available. They're called TVPs, or transitional vegan proteins, that are soy-based or that are plant-based, that don't include animals but that emulate the flavors and emulate the textures. So I know Gardein has wonderful products that can do that, and they're available in restaurants too, all throughout Las Vegas.
More
I've
and
seen
more
that.
mainstream. All the
Very
mainstream
much.
grocery stores now have
you don't
these
have to
alternatives.
sacrifice that.
No, you don't. And you don't miss out on the meat and dairy when you eat at Violet's Vegan, or
Yeah.
you eat at Veggie Nation, or the upcoming Panacea in Boca Park, or Chef Kenny's Veggie House on Spring Mountain. You would never know the Asian foods that you're eating, that it's plant-based proteins. You would never know, and it's delicious.
A few things that I've heard from people about them not having a plant-based diet is that for health reasons they can't do it. I mean, you hear a lot of different things when you start talking to people about giving up meat, is that their doctor told them that they can't stop eating meat. They need to have the nutrients from the cow, from the chicken, in order to sustain their health. What do you say to people like that?
I think they're brainwashed. And doctors don't take a course in nutrition.
Yeah.
They're never given a course in nutrition. They're mostly drug-based. They learn to diagnose, and how do doctors hone their craft? By either surgeries or by pills. They're not one to say your food is what's causing your problem. And so that's why, but there is many doctors now that are starting to come into this and see that it's undeniable that the food is what is the cause, and also the food is the cure. So we are making some headway as veganism keeps getting stronger and stronger, and it's just a wonderful thing. And this is the best time to be a vegan, because there's so many, as they were saying, so many substitutes. And those slides were shown so that you can take the scare out of thinking that all you have to eat is salads
Right.
and rabbit food. You can everything you can eat can look like the food you're eating now, and taste better. Ice cream is creamier, and the beauty that you can eat without harming a living being is the biggest payoff, really.
Joanna, you have something you want to share with us.
Yes, I'd just like to read to end this. So, world peace begins on your plate. When we each realize that food doesn't moo, oink, cluck, baa, or quack. World peace begins on your plate. When we each realize that food doesn't embody flesh, blood, and bones, or give birth. That food doesn't give and receive love, or get happy and sad, or enjoy playing with each other and interacting with humans. World peace begins on your plate when we each realize that animals are so much like people. And because of this, we must stop eating animals. Otherwise, tell me, why when we look at animals, why isn't our first thought to eat them as we do? I'm sorry, when we look at humans, why isn't our first thought to eat them as we do animals? This means the perversity of lumping vegetables, fruits, and grains in the grocery store, along with tortured, slaughtered animals, screams of the insanity of domination and oppression against our animal brothers and sisters, revealing that we consciously and unconsciously value domination and oppression. And obviously, animals had to be dominated and violated against their will to live, to end up in a display case as cut-up pieces of flesh. To evolve as a species, we must give up violence against all beings. For as long as the war we wage against animals continues, the war between human versus human carries on uninterrupted as well. End this injustice and become vegan. Eat foods that Mother Earth lovingly and sanely provides, humanely grown from the rich fertile soils, and don't eat mother animals and their children. After all, humans are called animals as well, and the non-human sentient beings we call animals, the ones we must stop commodifying. When animals are reclassified as a species in the same category as plants, which they never will be.
Joanna, we've got about 10 seconds.
Okay, so basically, just remember that world peace always begins on your plate when we insist that violence and slaughter be left off the menu.
Thank you, ladies, for being a part of the Guy Dawson Show today and sharing this valuable information about how to make the world a more peaceful place.
Thanks
you.
for having
Thank you so
us.
much, Guy.
And thank all of you for tuning in to this week's edition of the show, and we will see you next week.